Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and in today's video I want to do another BDS safe makeup look. BDS is Boycotts, Divestments, and Sanctions, and it is a non-violent Palestinian-led movement to encourage boycotts, divestments, and economic sanctions against apartheid Israel. This is not my first BDS safe video. I will have the other two linked somewhere throughout this video. But in today's video, I am using almost entirely completely different products than I used in my previous BDS safe makeup video. So I'm showing you guys different products, different brands that are all BDS safe. So if you guys want to hang out and see some BDS safe makeup, then just keep on watching. So first things first, I have here the About Face Shadow Fix Eyeshadow Primer. About Face is Halsey's makeup brand. She has spoken out against the genocide and her brand is BDS safe. So I talked rather in depth about BDS and different makeup brands in my original BDS safe makeup video, so I'm not gonna get too into it this time. I'll touch on it a little bit here and there, but if you guys want a really in-depth discussion about different brands, the parent companies to avoid, and all of that, I highly recommend watching the first video as well as this one, obviously. One thing that I do really want to impress upon everyone, I would assume that if you're watching this video, you are a makeup lover like I am, and I would assume that you likely have been purchasing makeup for longer than before October 7th. I would assume that you've been purchasing makeup for longer than before October 7th, 2023. Everything that I'm using in today's video is BDS safe, obviously. I still have a rather large collection of makeup, and a portion of that is not BDS safe because it was makeup that I bought before I was educated on everything that was going on in Israel, Palestine, the Middle East as a whole. Unfortunately, I was not educated on this topic, years ago. With that being said, I'm not going to get rid of makeup or products in general that I own just because they're not BDS safe. I will use them up. I just filmed an empties video yesterday that I don't know if it's up or not already. I still put those products in my empties videos. I still talk about them on my channel, but I make sure to remind people that they're not BDS safe and that I have makeup products that I absolutely love from brands that I will never purchase from again. So I just make sure to remind people hey, I enjoyed this product. I don't support the company. I don't support the brand any longer. So with that being said, that was my final hurrah with the product, and now I've moved on to something else. There is not a single makeup product that exists on the face of this planet that is so unique and so in a category of its own that it can't be duped, that you can't find at least something similar, But with that being said, I am not going to fill landfills with unused or partially used makeup or hair products or this or that simply because I don't support the brand. They already got my money for the product. I'm going to use it up. For eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Queen herself, Huda Beauty, and the Pretty Grunge palette, which is fucking a divine palette, honestly. But Huda has been incredibly outspoken about Palestine and Gaza and Lebanon now as well. And she was one of the very first creators that I actually saw that really spoke out in support of Gaza and has not let any of the backlash stop her from continuing to speak out, which I love. I'm actually going to start out, not that you can tell, but with the cream black shade in here. and just kind of roughly create a little bit of a wing. I'm just going to take a clean pencil brush and just wiggle that over this to kind of smudge it out a bit. Now that I look like a raccoon, I'm going to take the black shade on a really small shader brush, and I'm just going to go back over this just to deepen it back to black, but I wanted it really smudgy. So, like I said just a little bit ago, I have already talked at length about the different brands, and obviously I'm going to, mention everything about the brands that I'm using in today's video, but more so speaking in depth about like the parent companies, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, PG&E. There's one other one that I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. Oh, Unilever, and why they should be avoided and all of that. I talked about that at length in my previous BDS safe video, but the reason why I don't really want to touch too much on that today, I don't want to be repetitive if you've already seen that video or if you have intentions of going and watching that video, but I also think that it's important to not just focus on brands that we should and shouldn't be using of a luxury. Granted, there's drugstore products in here too. When I say luxury, I don't necessarily mean expensive, but makeup is a luxury. Skincare is a luxury. Hair care is a necessity, but a lot of the ways that we consume hair care now is a luxury. When I say luxury, I mean like it's not a human right and like a need to function kind of thing. It's not the same as, food, water, shelter, that kind of thing. So again, while yes, the entire purpose of this video is to show you brands that are BDS safe and are, good to use and they're good products and all of this, and we can do fun makeup looks, even if we look like a raccoon in the middle. While yes, that's the point of this video, I still think that it's important to focus on why we are doing this. I see a lot of discussion and debate on social media in particular, specifically TikTok, of course, where people are rightfully getting called out for drinking Starbucks, eating McDonald's, doing this, XYZ, whatever. And while yes, we should be holding people accountable and also making decisions on who we want to support on social media and who we want to give our time and our ad revenue towards on social media, it oftentimes can come across a bit grandstandy, first of all, and also I feel like it loses the message and the reason. It becomes more of a witch hunt and just about canceling people because they were drinking Starbucks, which, I mean, for fuck's sake, if we're a year into this, you should know better. And I personally think that if you're still willingly consuming these products, let alone consuming these products on a public platform and showing yourself doing it, there's just like simply no way that you don't know, but I digress. You're making a decision at that point. I, again, digress. I find that a lot of times it devolves from the message and the purpose and the reason why we boycott brands and boycott and we demand sanctions and all of this doesn't focus on that, and it focuses more on just canceling people for the fun of fucking canceling people, is what I'm trying to say in way too many words. We're losing the message in a lot of situations, and while yes, boycotts is one of the most effective things that we as consumers can do, because at the end of the day, we can vote and we can reach out to our Congress people and we can protest and we can do this and we can do that, but at the end of the day, what the government's going to do is what the government's going to unfortunately do, and the only thing that we can really control is where our money is going, which is why doing boycotts is so effective. It was highly effective against apartheid South Africa, but I repeat again, I feel like oftentimes we lose the message in an effort to be right. So I feel like it's more important for me in this video to remind you guys why we're doing this. I know that that's rich, considering it's all over everything, it's in our faces constantly. But again, I feel like a lot of times when discussing boycotts of products, we're losing the message and we're losing the why. So in today's video, I want to focus on the message and the why and why we are doing this. As of filming this video, which it is October 18th, over 43,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. And that is only the people who have been identified. That is only the bodies that have been found. That is not accounting for the thousands of people that are still under the rubble. That is not accounting for the thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people really, that are dying of starvation and disease and a lack of healthcare and lack of water and lack of appropriate resources. That is not accounting for those people. The number is horrifically undercounted at this time, and I personally think that it's probably going to be several years before we find out the true number of the devastation. We are just over 1 year into the current devastation. Obviously, this has not been happening for just a year. This has been happening for over 70 years at this point. It's been happening since the 40s. And unfortunately, tragically, the genocide is spreading. The siege for more land and more death is spreading. Over 2,500 people, again, as of filming this video, have been killed in Lebanon in the past month or so. There's been countless deaths in the West Bank as well, and this isn't even including Syria and Yemen. But I don't think that it would be unfair to say that at this point there has been over 50,000 people killed, again, that are accounted for, at the hands of the Israeli government and the IDF. And for those that are in Gaza that are still alive, they are living without any sort of permanent shelter, not knowing where their next meal is coming from, not knowing where their next water is coming from. And that is entirely, completely ignoring the IDF's complete siege over the north of Gaza and their complete cutoff of all forms of humanitarian aid into the north of Gaza. And that is exactly why I say that we need to focus on the why. It's great to hold people accountable for their consumerism. We can argue all day long about the comments that someone like Asmongold makes on social media. But at the end of the day, a witch hunt on our own soil because someone said something incredibly stupid or someone consumed a product that is funding apartheid, funding genocide, that is centering those people in a discussion that should have never been centered around them to begin with. So with that being said, I'm just going to quickly show you guys the base products that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to go do them off of camera. For my primer, I'm going to be using the Iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. Iconic London is completely BDS safe. They have absolutely no known ties to Israel. I do love a little bit of like a glowy product on my under eyes just to kind of counteract some of the dark circles, especially when I do something like that and it makes my dark circles even more prominent. The Auric Glow Lust is what I'm going to be using today. This is Samantha Ravindall's private brand. She has been also outspoken about Palestine, and there is no known ties. She has no parent companies or anything like that. So definitely no known ties. For my actual under eye color corrector, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution Eye Bright Corrector in light to medium. I don't know why I was going to tell you the shades. Makeup Revolution is one of two brands that I'm going to be using today that they do have investors that unfortunately do partake in the funding of genocide. With that being said, I have done quite a bit of extensive research regarding investors and things of that nature, and when it comes down to it, a brand does not get to choose who invests in them, nor do they get to just like look at an investor and say like, you go away, goodbye. It's like the stock market, unfortunately. It just kind of is what it is. So I put these in like a purchase at your own discretion. Makeup Revolution and then e.l.f. is the other one. Purchase at your own discretion. I personally choose to mainly focus on avoiding the four main parent companies, like I said, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Unilever, and PG&E. Those are the brands that I explicitly try to avoid, or any brand that has been like outwardly pro-Israel, obviously. But brands that have investors, I understand that a portion of my purchases of these brands can be used towards that, but again, the brand doesn't necessarily get a say in the matter. I just try to really focus in on certain parent companies, certain brands, things like that. For my foundation, I'm going to be using the NARS Sheer Glow. NARS has no known ties to Israel. So yeah, I'm going to do my concealer with you guys on camera when I do like my creams, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm going to go do my base off of camera and I will be right back. Okay, for cream bronzer, I already took the lid off, but this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills cream bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. ABH has no known ties to Israel, which we love. But yeah, not to like, continue harping on the same thing and also in turn, basically doing the exact thing that I said that we shouldn't be doing. But like, especially over this past week, and again, I'm filming this on October 18th. You guys are seeing this about a month from now. I am watching people like Asmongold, for example, and Ethan Klein is another great example. People rightfully getting dragged and getting canceled and, yelled at by the masses for things that they are saying that are horrific and wrong. Absolutely. Like, again, rightfully getting dragged. I'm not trying to diminish what they said or anything like that, but it almost feels like in the quest for the drama, people are forgetting what we're actually fighting about. For my cream blush, I'm going to use the LYS Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush in Self Love. LYS is another brand that has absolutely no known ties to Israel. But yeah, particularly I'm going to use Asmongold's comments and things that he said as an example here. Again, what he said was horrific and wrong and absolutely cancelable. That was way too much cream blush. But it felt like the aftermath of that was we're gonna be mad at him and we're gonna fight about it and yell at him because we're supposed to, but we've kind of forgotten what it is that we're mad about, and we're spending so much time yelling at these creators. I don't want to say over stupid shit, but over things that words matter, and words are harmful, and things that are being said are absolutely radicalizing for some portion of people's audiences, but words are not nearly as harmful as bombs, obviously, and people are spending so much time focusing on the words that people are using and forgetting that the people that we should be yelling at are the Israeli government and the US government for funding it and things like that. For my concealer, I used the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. I'm just going to let this sit on my skin for just a second, and then I am going to blend it out. Kind of take away some of that blush because I went a little crazy. So really quick, while this is setting on my skin, I'm just going to show you guys the powders that I'm going to use because I'm going to set down my face off of camera. For like this portion of my face, I'm going to use the e.l.f. HD. This is like the soft glow version. Like I said earlier when I was discussing Makeup Revolution, e.l.f. is a brand that does have investors with ties to funding Israel. I am making the personal decision to continue supporting e.l.f. But again, that one is very much at your own discretion. For my under eyes, I'm going to use the Essence 16-Hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation, completely BDS safe. And then for the rest of my face, I'm going to mix together two powder foundations, the e.l.f. Camel Powder Foundation and then the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Powder Foundation. Flower Beauty is Drew Barrymore's brand, and this is also, they are also BDS safe. She actually spoke out against Israel almost 20 years ago at this point. It was in like 2008. So with that being said, I'm going to go blend this out, go set down my face. I will be right back. Okay, I think this is the only product that I used in my last video, but I wanted to highlight Juvia's Place, and I don't have a ton of Juvia's Place products, but Juvia's Place does not have any known ties to Israel, so I'm going to be using the Bronzed Duo. I'm going to use the top shade for my nose and then the bottom shade for like my forehead. In my time, which again is in the middle of October, in my time, Yahya Sinwar was just killed. He was found in a building by himself in Gaza in army fatigues, ready to fight. He was not some billionaire in Qatar. He was on the ground. And listen, I'm not here to advocate for the things that Hamas has done. Do not get it twisted. But in the same time, I'm going to put it this way. If I watched my family die, if I gave birth to a baby and my baby died in the hospital, or I couldn't properly feed my baby because of lack of resources, and my baby died, I don't know what I'd do, but I can't imagine that I would idly sit by and let that happen. I recently saw, I believe it was Felix Biederman was on Hassan's stream, and I recently watched a video that he was on, like a clip, like a re-upload, I guess I should say, whatever, doesn't matter, irrelevant. Recently saw Felix Biederman say this, that we, as Americans, as people in Western society, we should be so lucky to not know how we would react in those situations. We should be so fucking lucky that we don't know what we would do. Because I think that there's a lot of people in the world on both sides of the situation that talk a big talk, but at the end of the day, not a single one of us know how we would actually truly react if that was us on the ground in our home in Gaza. We should be so fucking lucky that we don't know what we would do. But I do think that something that is worth keeping in mind, and I know that likely if you're watching this video, I'm preaching to the choir here. I get that. But I remember some of the comments from my first BDS safe video, and I'm also not so disillusioned to think that the pro-Israeli group that popped up in my last video's comment section, I'm not disillusioned enough to think that they would still be watching this video this far in. But I think something to keep in mind is that when we think about, you know, like we should be so lucky that we don't know what we would do in those situations. These people are being killed all for the sin of being born somewhere. Like, not a single one of us chose where we were born. You don't get that choice, you know? You're born where you're born. And you don't choose your ethnicity. You don't choose the family that you're born to. You don't choose where you're born. And killing people in general, but, you know, especially killing people for those reasons is absolutely repugnant and just disgusting and unconscionable. Okay, so for my matte blush, the first blush that I put on, I used the ColourPop pressed powder blush in To the 10. ColourPop is 100% BDS safe. And then for my blush topper, which is very soft, so it's not like super visible on my skin, I used the Milani Baked Blush in Petal Primavera. Again, obviously also BDS safe. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glow onto my skin. I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Powder. Physicians Formula doesn't have any known ties to Israel. And so again, just to kind of like, you know, circle back a little bit here and talk about like boycotts and why they're important. I said it earlier, but, you know, there are very few things that we as citizens have control over. We choose who we vote for, obviously, but what the government does is unfortunately rarely within our own control. But one thing that we have 100% control over is how we spend our money and what we spend our money on. I am of the personal belief that I try to focus the majority of my boycotts and my focus when it comes to boycotts on luxury things. And again, that's not saying expensive stuff. I'm saying things that are not necessities, right? Makeup, skincare, hair care, clothes, things like that. Clothes are a necessity, but you know what I mean. I try to be conscious of who I'm buying from, who they support, all of that. Now, that's not to say I'm going to turn around and leave here and go to Starbucks. Absolutely the fuck not. I got coffee at home. But I don't personally agree with vilifying people, villainizing people in regards to food protests. I choose who I do and don't boycott, as does everyone else. They make their own decisions. But I also can recognize how much more of this glowy powder can I put on my face. I also recognize that there are millions of people in this world, myself included, my husband included, that have dietary restrictions, neurodivergency, so they have certain safe foods and foods that they can't touch because it's torture to them. Things of that nature. you know, we never know what's going on behind the scenes of somebody who is buying their kid McDonald's chicken nuggets. We don't know. Truly, we don't. I'm going to give you an example here. In September, my husband had dental surgery. And with that came an extended period of time of a very altered and restricted diet. On top of the fact that the man is neurodivergent, has sensory issues when it comes to food, things of that nature. At this moment in time, as of filming, I'm really fucking hoping it's different by the time you guys are seeing this video, but as of filming, he can only eat like liquids and food like cream of wheat, mush, applesauce, things like that of that nature. Ice cream, obviously. You know, really no chew food. We've graduated to pancakes, which is so, I'm digressing here, but we've graduated to pancakes, but like he's still not chewing them. My point being is, in the midst of an over month-long struggle of finding things that are safe for him to eat, that have any amount of nutritional value, really, but at this point I'm just focusing on calories. Being over a month into this, if all he could eat, and I know this is an extreme example because of the fact that there's other fast food chains that provide the same thing, but just go with me here. If all he could eat during that time was McDonald's shakes, I'm not going to risk my husband's life just to boycott McDonald's. I boycott plenty of other brands. I boycott plenty of other things. His health is equally as important as everyone in Gaza. Now, obviously, he's not, you know, in the middle of a genocide, but like his life is still important, and he is still somebody that is fighting for the, you know, the rights and the self-determination of people in Gaza. So I'm not going to risk his fucking life because of a protest, you know what I mean? If a mom has a kid who is autistic and the only thing that she can get him to eat is those egg sandwich thingies from Starbucks, that's all he will eat, he won't eat anything else, then obviously that's what she's gonna get him, you know? And just hope that eventually he grows a new safe food. Like, that's how that works. I will never vilify somebody for their food choices, because we don't know what's going on in somebody's life. And you have to eat to live, and you have to live to be able to see a free Palestine. That's how that works, you know? For my highlight, this is discontinued, but again, I really wanted to highlight the brand here. This is the LA Girl Euphoria Iridescent Highlighter. Really just wanted to highlight the brand, which is LA Girl. They are BDS safe, no known ties to Israel. My point being is, my decision to put on makeup and film makeup content, or just, you know, do makeup before work, is not the deciding factor on whether or not I survive day to day. It is a luxury item. Food is not. Water is not. If somebody lives in a food desert and their little food market only sells Nestle bottled water, we just had 2 massive hurricanes hit the United States very recently. Do you think that the people who are accepting aid are picking and choosing the food and the water and the supplies and the brands that those are? No. You do what you need to do to survive. That's my point. So we need to focus in on boycotting things that we obviously have control over. Like, if you can boycott McDonald's and Starbucks and the like, then absolutely do that. I do that. But we shouldn't be vilifying people who cannot do that. That's that. I'm gonna go finish up the rest of my makeup off of camera, and I will show you guys the different products that I use, because everything is gonna be BDS safe when I get back. Okay, so for my brows, I used the Essence Make Me Brow and the Milani Weekend Brow Pens. I've talked about both of these brands already. They are both BDS safe, as is obviously everything in this video. For my pencil liner, for like my tight line, I used the About Face Line Artist Liner in Into the Void. I did put a little bit of liquid liner just to hide my lash band. I used the e.l.f. Expert Liquid Eyeliner. For my lashes, I use the Essence Lash Princess. I'm laughing because most of these brands are things that I have mentioned already. We're getting into the last couple things, which are brands that I haven't mentioned yet. I use the Wet n Wild Gel Lip Liner in Bear to Comment as my first lip liner. Wet n Wild is BDS safe, no known ties to Israel. I did contour my lips a little bit with the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in BFF3. And then for my lipstick, I used the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in Bare Affair. Revlon actually used to be on the list of makeup brands that isn't BDS safe. However, in 2022 or 2023, one of those, they did file for bankruptcy and they were purchased by different owners. As it stands right now, I have not personally been able to find anything regarding the new owners and any ties to Israel. The previous owner was a raging Zionist. But they aren't owned by like one of the big four parent companies, and the current owners seem to be okay. Seem to be. I could be wrong. I could be misinformed. It could just be hiding somewhere. I don't know. But upon my own personal research, they were BDS safe. And then last but not least, my lashes is actually going to be kind of all-encompassing. Well, I guess everything's all-encompassing for a brand, but last but not least, for my lashes, I used the AOA Studios 3D Foam Ink Lashes. This is from Shot Miss A. Shot Miss A is BDS safe. AOA Studios is their house brand, also BDS safe. I can't speak for every brand that is on Shot Miss A's website, but AOA Studios and their other house brands like A2O Labs and the like are all BDS safe. So this is the final makeup look. I love the way that it turned out. I think the whole vibe for today is quite good. So I didn't even like really get into everything, to be honest with you. Like in my time, once again, I really have to impress upon the date because everything is changing day to day and more things happen on a day-to-day basis, but it's October 18th for me. We haven't had the US presidential elections yet. As of right now, Biden has put his red line on the north of Gaza and telling Netanyahu that he has 30 days to bring humanitarian aid into the north of Gaza, or he's going to do an arms embargo. By the time you guys are seeing this video, that 30 days is up. The presidential election will have happened. Can you see the hope in my face? Because it's not there. I guess we'll see. Hopefully I am proven wrong. It's just hard to take those things seriously when meanwhile the Likud party is hosting events talking about settling Gaza. Like it's hard to see hope, you know? But I do genuinely think that in my lifetime we will see a free Palestine. That is my hope. I not just my hope, obviously, but that is my hope that within my lifetime we will see a free Palestine. If you are new to my channel, if you happen to stumble across this video because we're searching for BDS safe makeup, I've harped on it a couple times, but like I said, I have the other two BDS safe products. I did one makeup, one skincare video that have been linked throughout this video. They're also down in the description box as well. Like I did say, if you guys stick around and watch more of my makeup content, I do occasionally mention non-BDS safe products on my channel because it's stuff that I'm using up. With that being said, going into the holidays, I always do what I call a holiday haul. which is usually 1 or 2 videos of new to the market or new to me makeup that I am trying. And all of that is going to be BDS safe as well, so it will be a BDS safe holiday haul. Everything that I'm purchasing going forward is obviously going to be BDS safe as well. So definitely stick around if you want to see more BDS safe makeup, or just more makeup content in general. But this is where I'm going to wrap up today's video. Comment down below and tell me your favorite BDS safe makeup brand. I would love to hear a ton of different ideas. I am going to have a Google Doc linked down below as well, made by another creator that's going to have a massive list of brands that are safe, brands to avoid, brands that are questionable, things like that. So definitely check that out if you want some more ideas as well. Please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. Free Palestine, free Lebanon, free every oppressed country. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!